Lianre Robinson, what one thing do you wish you'd have known 10 years ago?
I think I wish I'd have known that like it was okay not to have a plan or like not too much of a plan. Because I've probably been quite sort of instinctual with my career in the way that I've gone for sort of like, oh, I think this is interesting, or this is like an interesting next step. And I've done lots of different things. But I kind of came across lots of people who did have a very clear plan, knew where they were going, what they wanted to do. And I think during those times I'd wonder like, have I have I missed a trick? Should I have laid it out a little bit more in more detail? But I did kind of follow, like I said, it was quite just, more instinct.
Mhm.
And as opportunities arose or I created them, that's how I kind of move forward.
I certainly think when I was younger, I did have this jealousy is maybe too strong, slight envious look of people who were like at 16 at school and were like, I want to be an accountant. And they just knew that straight away. I mean, I'd have been the
Absolutely.
worst accountant ever, but they had this sort of career path. I went to uni to be a teacher. I wanted to be a PE teacher. I got a year in. I was like, no, this is not for me. Did some teaching practice in school, in a high school in Newcastle. I was like, not for me. And after that, I think my career path has kind of, bounced and wobbled around like yours. What were maybe the big moments in that where you've just followed your gut and gone, actually, that was a great decision to make?
I started off thinking I was going to work in fashion. So I went to London College of Fashion. I went to, they're all renamed now because I'm old. So it was called Surrey Institute of Art and Design at the time. And I really thought I was going to work in fashion. I had read about being a model booker or a fashion buyer at Ms. Magazine. And I was like, well, good, that's for me, right? And then I moved along. I did a bunch of different work experience in all of those things, actually, in buying and booking and lots of things. And I sort of hit a moment realizing that actually it wasn't for me, and maybe it just wasn't a good fit. I didn't think I'd found my people. Um, and I still had lots of respect and excitement for the industry, but it just didn't feel like it was the right fit. And sort of, I think that was a big moment because it changed direction that I thought I was going to have, but actually I don't regret it in any way, and kind of led me into kind of the wider world of creative industries, marketing, advertising, event production, etc.
This is it. It's great to learn that something isn't for you, isn't it? And I think there's a lot of pressure on kids coming through schools. The old man talks about the youth of today, but it's
Yeah,
always been that way, isn't it? Like, what career do you want to do? Like, 16 years old, you haven't got a clue.
yeah.
I
It's
don't
okay to try
know.
things,
Yeah,
right? And I think bring back risk taking, right? It's okay to try things when you're younger. Like you've not got any of the like things that you have to pay attention to now, right? When you're younger. So
that's it.
I did. I tried lots of different things, but I was, I thought that was it, and then it turned out I wasn't. But I don't regret that in any way.
Great stuff. Well, look, we've got a quick introduction coming now, and then we'll be back with the rest of the interview. Hey up and welcome to the strategy sessions. My name is Andi Jarvis. I'm the host of the show and the Chief Strategy Officer at Eximo Marketing. Thank you for tuning in today. It means a lot to me and the team behind the strategy sessions. Before we go on with the guest, can I ask you to do two things for me? One, please interact with this episode. If you like it, if you hate it, I'd love you to leave a review and just let me know a few things about it. If you want to send it to me directly, my email address is in the show notes, so please do just fire me a message. Love to hear what you think. But interacting with the episode does help more people find it, so it really does help. So thank you for that. The second thing I'd like to say is send it to a friend. Is there someone you drop a WhatsApp to or an iMessage to and be like, yeah, I've heard this episode, do you want to have a listen to this person? It's great. Honestly, it's a great way to help people discover things. So please do interact with the episode or share it with a friend if you've enjoyed it. And that's about it, really. Let's get on with the show and get back to the guest interview. Lianre, we've heard that you've been through a little bit of an instinctive career, which has led you to right now being the chief exec of the Marketing Academy Foundation. Have I got that right? TMAF.
Yes, it's the Marketing
Yes.
Academy Foundation. Yeah.
Foundation. Yeah, perfect. It's great when I can even read my own notes on what you do. Strong start to the podcast, Jarvis. Well done. So let's start here and work backwards through your career. So there's a lot of people listening will be like, oh, the Marketing Academy Foundation, but there'll be people who don't know what that is. So just give us a quick overview of what you do and why it's important.
Yeah, so the Marketing Academy Foundation, we create opportunities for young people from low income backgrounds. So we're social mobility focused and trying to move that forward in our industry. We run two programs, one that kind of creates access to entry level salaried roles for young talent to get into the industry, and another that helps them in that point of need employability stage where they're looking to kind of get jobs, a sort of 1 day boot camp to help them with everything from CV skills, understanding the industry, to kind of real mock interview practice.
The need for this program is there because there's I think to a broad criticism of the industry is it's very middle class, it is very white, very private school. Would that be fair? Have I missed anything out there? Very male, maybe?
Yeah, I think all of those things can be true, but can sometimes be said about lots of industries too. But I think mostly we understand that from a kind of social mobility perspective, our industry is lacking in that sense. And even with the things that have changed in recent years, of which there are, and there are lots of great programs and moves that have been made by the industry to be more inclusive, to be more representative of the people that we're actually serving. We know that there's still kind of further to go. And, the real need comes from the fact that the access and opportunities are just not equally distributed. So we've got brilliant talent who just don't have a way in because they don't have, family in the industry, or they don't have relationships, or they don't know someone who can pick up the phone and say, give my friend and, give my friend's son an internship.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
So
and work for
and
free
work
for 3 months.
exactly, and they don't have the ability to work for free for that long. Exactly, most of them will be kind of already working in some kind of paid work and hustling while they figure out how to get into their dream career.
You've been chief exec there for 18 months now ish, a bit longer.
No, I'm just shy of a year, but I don't know if it
Jeez.
feels like dog years. I started at the beginning of January, so I'm not even at 12 months, but getting really close. But it feels like loads of time. I've loved it, and I've been cramming loads in, and the brilliant team have been coming with me.
One of the things that you're just launching at the moment, and by the time this episode comes out, should be fully launched, I think, is a rebrand of the Marketing Academy Foundation. So, new chief exec comes in the door. We're going to rebrand everything, but there must be. You're sharper than that. There must have been a problem that you spotted that made you sort of that get that process through.
Yeah, I think so it wasn't the first thing I said when I came in the door, but actually in honesty it was something we talked about even when I was interviewing for the role. Just that it's not so much a problem because I feel really grateful about what I've inherited at the foundation. I think it's fantastic, and the work that's been done to launch it and run it for the last 7+ years is phenomenal, and the team have been really great. So less of a problem, more just an opportunity that I saw when I was thinking about how we move forward over the next 7 and beyond, right? I think I spotted that actually the foundation, as many people know about the foundation and feel excited and passionate about what we're trying to do, there's like 3 times as many people who've never heard of it in the industry. So we're slightly in danger of being a best kept secret, which is terrible if you are trying to move
Yeah, the
forward.
worst words ever, isn't it? We're the best kept
Change,
secret.
right? Yeah. And because obviously, like anything where it's really important, we've been busy doing the work. The team were busy doing the work, right? And I think there was just a real opportunity for us to kind of talk about what we're doing, share more of the stories, think about how we engage more directly with what's becoming a much more growing audience of young talent because of how long we've been going and the programs that we run. So it just felt like there was a real opportunity to do something a little different and move it forward.
Now, as a general position in marketing, I always feel that the rebrand should be your last thing you do, not the first thing you do. Now, there's a lot of nuance to that position, depending. You haven't seen the data and all that sort of stuff, but typically, I'm like, right, what are all the other things we should do first? Because there's a little bit of equity in this that we're going to throw away or we're going to lose. So, should we be doing some other things first? Did you look at other options in terms of should we just ramp the comms up? Can we, communicate better with different people? How do we work all that? Or was it just actually this is now the time to do it because we have got an incredible 7 years in front of us?
Great question. It's not an either or in my head, and it definitely wasn't how I presented it and brought the team on board and the trustees. It's part of how we move forward. So we're doing lots of things that you mentioned. I've been thinking about how to drive much more kind of storytelling through our comms. We've actually looked at the offer that we have for the industry and for young talent, and making sure that that still feels fit for the changing times in the industry. We've been doing lots of more kind of engaging with the industry. So I have been shamelessly asking for access to lots and lots of industry events and bringing our talent kind of closer to the fore. They've even been on stage at some of them. So it's been part of a much kind of broader strategy rather than a sort of single smoking bullet that we need to change.
Yeah, this will fix everything. There's people listening going, "Oh, yeah, we've done one of those rebrands once." I don't even know you've been in marketing 20 plus years unless you've at least done one of those rebrands. Like, here's this will fix everything.
Absolutely,
it fixed nothing. Shit, what do I do now? I've done that at least twice. And what support are you getting from the industry? You mentioned you sort of shamelessly banging on doors saying, "Can you get me in here?" Is the industry receptive to this? I hate using terms like the industry. The industry is the people in it. You're having probably
exactly.
one-on-one conversations,
We are
but
the
as
industry.
a whole, we
Yeah.
are the industry. Yeah, but as a whole, are you finding people receptive to this, or are they like, nah, pushing back a little?
No, I think absolutely. It's definitely a really difficult time for the industry. Like, I'm part of the industry. My background is independent creative agencies. I led a tech business for a long time. Like, it's a challenge, and it's been a challenge for a long time. So if there are any conversations that are harder, they're usually just in the context of the fact that it's kind of up and down in terms of the industry. I think the conversations I've been having are really positive. I've brought on some new partners this year, which has been absolutely fantastic. We've had more volunteers than we've ever had getting involved in the foundation. We're starting with some new companies to host young people and kind of create those salaried roles that I mentioned. So I think it's positive, even in more challenging times.
And you do have some amazing volunteers. You have the people who give up their time to run workshops with with the younger people who are coming on the program. And you've had some fairly big names in turn up and run workshops with the crew, haven't you?
Yeah, we have actually. We're really, really lucky. And I'm just thinking now. I'm like, oh, shall I reel off loads of names? But some recent ones that have gone down super well with our teams have been Sarah Ellis of Squiggly Careers fame. Is a big supporter of the foundation and has delivered sessions around helping them sort of with personal confidence and navigating stages in their career. So I think we're really kind of lucky to get those people through the door and sharing their expertise and knowledge. And we've had, our volunteers come from lots of the leading companies and agencies, brands and agencies.
Yeah, and when you're short as well, I even got a phone call once to do one of the sessions. That's the only reason I made a show off about it. But I don't know what the cohort got from my session, although they said nice things about it. I got loads from the session. It was, when I lecture sometimes. I lectured for a couple of years at John Moores University and a few times, and sometimes some of the student groups you get are not really bought in. Some of them have maybe been told they've got to be there or whatever. I don't know. I find students very different to when I was a student in terms of the amount of focus they put on the course. So it was interesting to come to the Marketing Academy Foundation and run a workshop there with a group of people who were just fully switched onto it. They turned up wanting to learn, ready to learn, never had as many questions in a workshop as I had that day. When you set them off to do tasks, they sort of got into the tasks, came back with brilliant ideas, checked more questions. And it was a great workshop to be involved in. And I was like, what am I doing wrong that I'm not getting this from my MSc group back in Liverpool? And but you've got to look at yourself as well. I was like, am I bringing that energy into that delivery as well? What am I going to do? So, it was, but I really, really enjoyed it with a really switched on group. And if anyone wants to get involved, I'm sure they can contact you and be like, hey, happy to help. And you're always looking for volunteers, I'm assuming.
Always. And actually, one of the things in terms of kind of creating more visibility for the foundation has been that, like, people do pop into my inbox and say that they do want to get involved, and we talk about kind of what they can do and offer up those skills. But I think the energy that you're talking about is like one of the real joys that all volunteers and people who've run sessions for us or come down and done mock interviews or have just in any way get engaged with the talent that we're finding and that are coming to to our programs. It is that energy. It is two-way. It is valuable on both sides. And you said, why are you not getting that energy from the groups that you're working with? Like, a few decades in, maybe they're more tired.
Maybe,
and
yeah.
less, less excited on the whole. But yeah, I think we definitely get really great feedback when we pull these training sessions together. We're super grateful for the people that give up their time for them.
The opportunity that you're talking about, that you want the Marketing Academy Foundation to grasp. What is that opportunity? What are the objectives you're setting yourself in there? You've probably got a corporate plan for the next 3, 5, 7 years, whatever. What are the objectives you're hoping to achieve?
Believe it or not, I'm not a massive fan of like 5-year plans, so possibly controversial. Not because I think there's anything wrong in them. I just think that a lot changes in all aspects. So I kind of have looser goals for the long term and much more kind of lucid and clearer ones for the short term.
So sorry to interrupt your answer there. If you don't set 5-year objectives or 3-year objectives or something longer term, how do you ensure the organization pulls in a sort of coherent, unified direction and doesn't just sort of tick tack between whatever's most important this 3 months or next 6 months or something like that?
Yeah, so I think it's more the process of kind of 5-year goal setting is maybe not what I approach myself, but I do definitely have a very clear sort of broad objectives about what I think we should be achieving in the long term. Are we becoming more visible in the industry, because more visibility is going to give us greater impact? Yeah. Are we delivering programs that are fit for purpose and are beneficial to both young talent and also our industry partners? Are we delivering something of value long term and moving the needle in terms of what we believe needs to happen in the industry from a social mobility perspective? Are we doing good and are we enjoying ourselves along the way? And are we listening and testing what's working and learning from what's working? Because I think that is kind of a big part. And then I use all of those sort of as guiding principles to allow us to think about more strategic goals on a sort of yearly basis.
Enjoyment's underrated, isn't it? And I understand why, if you're Barclays Bank or somebody like that, they don't have enjoyment as a core principle of how they do it. I can sort of understand that. But it is underrated, isn't it? Like, people smiling at work. People say, "Oh, how do you bring your whole self? Or how do you do your best work?" Smile on people's faces, and they do infinitely better work than if they're sitting there feeling beaten down. I love that. You're trying to get enjoyment into it, and it doesn't mean being funny and cocking about, does it? But it means enjoying the challenges that you have and the
Yeah.
atmosphere that you create.
Yeah, and the opportunities and creating new things and making sure that there's a lot of things that we do as a foundation, but I think a lot about the team and making sure that they're kind of doing the things that they enjoy and get energy from, alongside those things being what we need to do as a foundation, because all you have in any organization is people, right? Really. So it's super important to understand what it is that makes them kind of tick and what they care about and how to motivate them, and how to kind of create that energy, because otherwise what have you got?
This is the point where people listening realize this is the Northerner presenting a podcast when he says cocking about as a technical term for what we're not supposed to do. So no, I really do love that. And you've got to, if you don't have those people on side, that's it. So I interrupted your answer, by the way. You were telling me about the sort of the objectives that you have. I know you've said a few things about what you want to achieve, but so on those shorter term goals on that roadmap, where do you want to be in the next sort of 6 months or so with the foundation?
Yeah, I'd love to see a load of new sort of host companies come forward and get even more young talent into businesses in our industry over the next 6 months, and have lots of really positive conversations. Hopefully some of those will come to fruition. We are doing lots around our employability bootcamp and are working with lots of different partners on delivering that, which I think is really exciting. So looking forward to doing more of that and finding out what kind of the best fit is and value to both talent and partners. Looking forward to hearing more from the young people. I really get personal energy from it. I tend to go down to our boot camps and usually present part of the day, and I love it. And it's not only do I really enjoy it, I love being able to kind of share information, support that journey, make new connections with all of the aspiring marketers that are coming through, but also just I think it's really useful to hear firsthand what it is that they're seeing, feeling, challenges that they're having. Like, I think it's super important. So then I'm not kind of sat, like you say, CEO coming in and going, let's change all of this stuff with no real idea what's happening with who we're actually supposed to be helping and serving.
You also, when we met back in the summer when it was warm, not when it was freezing cold like it is today, but when we met in the summer, yeah, it was beautiful. It was lovely. And you described yourself to me as not a marketer. So the question I have then is, how does not a marketer get one of, if not the biggest, but one of the best jobs in marketing? So how did you end up in the hot seat that you're in now?
Well, do you know what? It actually really was a hot seat that day that we met as well, because I'm pretty sure I was hiding out by someone's fan, and it was like the hottest day.
It was
in the summer.
over 40 degrees. It was horrifically hot.
So I think it definitely was a hot seat. I often say that I'm not really a marketer, but I suppose it's not super true. I've never been kind of brand owner side, and that's probably what I mean by that. But I've always worked in the industry, creating ideas, content, platforms, delivering partnerships to help brands understand people better and create kind of solutions that serve them best. So I definitely am a marketer, but probably don't really describe myself as that. This is actually a really good fit for me as a role, though, and one of the reasons I was really excited when I saw it. It was sent to me by a friend, funnily enough, even though it had been shared in some, shared around. And a friend sent it to me and said, "Oh, this role's perfect for you." But I think people who maybe haven't known me have only known me in recent years might not make the connection to how this fits. But people who've known me for a long time can see the connections to things I've done in the past and the experience that I've got and places I've been. I've always been very focused on young talent. I spent a long part of my career in a business called Liberty, where we did lots of similar types of work, incubating young talent, ran training programs, development programs, all whilst running youth marketing campaigns for kind of global brands. So just a little bit busy trying to do two very disparate things at the same time, but absolutely loved it. And have always been very much in the space of insights, understanding audiences, culture, communities. So very much like how do we understand what people want, and then how do we create things that add value to their lives and their experiences. So there's actually quite a lot of crossover and connections to this role.
I mean, almost everything you've said in the last 2 minutes sounds like marketing to me. You're going to have to stop saying you're not a marketer. Youth marketing campaigns, communities, people. I mean, you definitely sound like a marketer to me.
I'll rebrand myself on this podcast.
Listen, it's not like being an estate agent. You don't have to lie about it at a dinner party. What do you do? I'm a serial killer, not an estate agent. It's you don't have to lie about it. It's fine. It's a safe space.
Love it.
So you talked about some of the things in your background. One thing that stood out for me was your time at Codec when you were in sort of more community side of marketing. And I was interested if we could talk about that for a minute, because I see communities as something that every marketer wants to talk about, and every marketer wants to build a community. And I'm convinced most of them do it wrong, because what they mean when they say community is a bunch of people I can sell to. That's not what community marketing is it?
It's a real challenge, actually. And I think not so long ago, a friend of mine was on stage talking about culture and culture marketing, and she sort of pointed me out and said, we've been kind of doing it before that was what people called it. And it was, working with people that were doing things, adding value to the culture, finding ways to collaborate, tell meaningful stories, to bring something with you as a brand, and then earning your spot to be there and show up, right? And I don't think I'm going to say anything different to, a lot of the cultural marketers who are in the industry at the moment. But I think the two-way nature of it is usually where this kind of falls down, and that's the bit that we always have to kind of remind ourselves about it. It's not advertising, it's not turning up and showing the brand and then hoping that people are going to be interested and want to kind of buy that, right? That there's an absolute place for that, and that makes a lot of sense in the mix. But when we're talking about communities, those communities are thriving just fine without the brands. So you really need to find a way to bring value, to add something, right? And that is, the thing that we always used to talk, kind of lean into a lot when we were thinking about cultural communities at Codec. What have we found out about them? What have we identified that makes them kind of unique and special? What value have they already created, and what could a brand bring to be additive to that space that would mean that they'd be welcome, and that this would then, hopefully in turn produce value for the brand back.
Mm-hmm. And it's a long-term play, isn't it? Communities aren't something you just go, oh, we'll do this quarter. This is something that needs that longer-term horizon.
Yeah, it really does, actually. And I remember kind of quite a few years back where I got 4 briefs in a day, and everyone had said, we want to build a movement. And it did make me laugh at the time, because I remember thinking, like, have they all spoken to each other? And they were like different parts of the industry, really, really, really strange. But the buzzword back then was like build a movement, right? But it is a long-term play, and the reason why, sadly, some of those things didn't turn out to be movements and didn't, move past kind of like being a Facebook page at the time or whatever they were, was because of the fact that it is a long-term play, and there are just, as we know, lots of challenges in kind of holding a community-led strategy for a long period of time, when business and commercial goals will change quite rapidly sometimes in an organization. So I think it's those two things are really, really hard, and I don't kind of like downplay how difficult it is to lead that and believe in that community-led marketing and that vision, whilst also still having to sell units of a product on a daily and weekly and monthly basis, right? But it is a long-term play, and that's the reality of it.
So if someone is listening and is in either invested already in building a community or is just starting out with that journey, what are the 1 or 2 things that they should really either focus on or do, or even not do, that would help them develop that community so it eventually develops the brand for them?
Do you know what? It's okay to start small, because I think sometimes there's a feeling that we kind of have to go all in on community or miss out. But it's okay to start small. Value doesn't have to be like, value isn't kind of measured by like how large it is or how large the spend is around it. Value can be delivered in small places. And I think I'm seeing a lot of brands doing that at the moment, kind of starting small, building meaningful partnerships with grassroots communities, or, kind of like product launches, and just knowing that actually probably down the line that's going to be a relationship that they might have for years, and it could have started with some small gifting at a an intimate kind of like experience that community was leading. So I think it's okay to start small, and actually might be beneficial if you are trying to balance it with the day-to-day of all of those other challenges.
Sorry, for someone who's not a marketer, again, you've sounded very much like Seth Godin, who previously of this podcast.
Oh my god, no.
Maybe maybe one of the world's most famous marketers. I don't know, but he talks about looking for the people who get the joke. He's like, don't try and get it to everyone. He's like, find the people who get the joke and will laugh with you, and start with them, because then you've got a business, you've got sales, you've got revenue, and then you can find the next people who get the joke. He said, start small, don't start big. That's the way to succeed.
So apart from the fact that I reckon everyone's going to be laughing about you comparing me to Seth Godin when they listen to this, I am not comparing myself Seth Godin, just to be
through
clear.
the power of AI, I'm going to re-edit that clip so Lianre's going, oh yeah, I'm much better than Seth Godin. I've got all the words, I can just edit them together.
Oh gosh, yeah, this will be it. But yeah, no, we'll gloss over that bit. But I think your point about kind of, or his point even about finding people who get the joke, is actually really important, because again, one of the other things about community, which we all know, but not necessarily don't always have the time to kind of follow through with, or don't know follow through, is that you don't also then have to find the people who get the joke beyond that, because your existing joke getters will find the next joke getters, right? Not to kind of labour our
This is the name of our agency that we're going to launch next year.
Yeah.
Joke Getters.
You joke getters. This is it.
We find your communities. We do it with a smile on our face.
I'm here for it. Yeah. This is
all
great.
The bits are there. Lianre and Jarvis, the joke getters.
Yeah, the joke getters, right? And so it is a really it's a funny one, but that is also the power of community, because when you do find the people who get the joke, or the ones where you've added value and have created some, a meaningful place for the brand to show up, then they help carry that through for you. Right, and they help open new opportunities that you might not even be able to identify without them. Right. So remembering that you can learn, I think, would be the other thing I would say, that you can learn as much from all the different things that you do, than any kind of big upfront strategy can teach you. Right. Do something small, see how it goes. What have you learned? What new opportunities have arisen? What new connections have been made? And that's kind of, how you kind of are community led, which I think is always the key focus.
That emergent approach to strategy of, setting that direction, but also being humble enough and brave enough to be nimble with it. And there's a difference between having an emergent strategy that changes with what the feedback and the information you're getting from your community, and just, as I said before, tic-tacking between different ideas. They're not the same thing. But it's quite a brave thing to do, because in a lot of businesses, you don't get any credit for that nimbleness. Businesses want certainty. We'll do this for the next year. Great. How much will it cost? This much. Perfect. Boom. Get on with it. Going back after 3 months going, we've been really embedded in this community. We want to just do a bit more of this now. Do they really know what they're doing? They're changing course again. It's a difficult thing to do, isn't it? Is to react to the community without just becoming reactive.
Yeah. I think that's a really good distinction, because you can't be completely reactive, right? The brand has its own objectives and plans and focus, and so you can't just completely be reactive. But being able to react and learn, I think, is what I would say. Being able to learn from the activities that you're doing, which is, at the core of I'm sure all marketers, all real marketers listening to this, focus.
Well, listen, my biggest bugbear, I say it all the time, talk to your customers. And as you progress up the chain, the further away you get, and your knowledge of the customer and the community often comes from a report that you're given. And I really think it's important, as marketers progress through seniority, to stay close to a customer and get into them, get the sleeves rolled up and get out to meet the customer where they are. I think it's really important that we don't lose that, because if you do, you lose everything, I think.
Yeah. Agreed.
Cool. So we've been through a little bit of your career. We've been through where you are now and your objectives. What I want to know is, where do you go to learn? Where do you go to keep on top of your own knowledge for not being a marketer or whatever else? So where do you tap into? And would you recommend any of that to anyone else?
Oh, yeah, no, a great question, actually, because I'm on my own journey with that. I think I don't think I've done enough of it in recent times, and it's something that I'm kind of focusing on a lot more, wanting to make sure that I get out and about to events, that I am still really connected to what's happening in the industry, even with a slightly evolved role and space, reading books, talking to people, understanding kind of different points of view. I think some of the things that I have enjoyed recently are industry events. For the first time, and it's kind of hilarious to say it, but I went to the first time to Festival of Marketing. Never been before. and really enjoyed it. But went with a bunch of our young talent, went and saw loads of talks, but just really kind of filled up. Being lucky to be part of the Marketing Academy broader family means that sometimes I can slide into things that they're doing, and I think that kind of learning and development is unparalleled. So really kind of filling up my own cup with that in order to kind of go out and think about what I could do for the foundation.
I've never met anyone who's done the Marketing Academy who doesn't rave about it, including Sarah Shimmons, a friend of yours and mine,
Yes.
who formerly of this podcast as well. And when they, she won't be listening this far in, I'm sure, but when they write the book of Ireland's greatest ever marketers, she's definitely going to be in the top 3, if not the top 1. By the time she's finished, she'll be Ireland's greatest ever. Absolutely believe that. And if she is listening this fast, she'll hate me for saying that, but 100% an absolute talent.
Absolutely love her. We met when she was at had joined our show on Smirnoff, and I was at Lab Bible actually working on a project, and just kind of really very similar in the way that we think, like really pushing forward kind of great storytelling. I think she's a great storyteller, and yeah, we just, and then just really got on again in terms of like having fun and enjoying what you do. Really, got on. And so I think she's fantastic too. So yeah, if she is listening to this, it's a love-in for Sarah Shimmons.
Well, let's put it this way: if we don't get a message from her, we know she hasn't listened this far. So we've set a little trap for her. If you know Sarah, send her a message. Tell her to listen all the way to the end of the episode.
Oh no! Oh gosh!
We're watching you, Shimmons. She's buggered off to Australia, and now she thinks she's too important to listen. We know what she's like. So are there any? I'm going to have to wrap up. I'm sorry. Are there any books? Would you recommend any of the books or podcasts, or are you just doing a big sell for the Marketing Academy?
No. So I would definitely sell for the Marketing Academy, and if you are thinking about applying or someone to nominate, then definitely do it. I think it seems fantastic. I think I would make a recommendation for the newest of the Squiggly Careers Cruise books, Learn Like a Lobster, because actually it's all about kind of continuous learning, and actually not, I think the phrase is, we used to kind of learn to get the job, but now like learning is the job. And I think that's like really important, not just for marketing, but kind of the way that we approach our careers.
That's a great phrase. Absolutely. Keep going. Lifelong learning. Absolutely. It's one of the reasons I started the podcast, to be honest, as well. So there you go. Get to talk to smart people. It's the best thing in the world. Yeah. So Lianre, how does anyone get in touch with you if they want to volunteer, if they want to reach out? Are you LinkedIn? Is it email? What's best?
Yes, I am all on LinkedIn. Sorry, sometimes posting pictures of my big face and talking about the foundation. So yeah, that's always a really good one to hit me up on.
Perfect. So your details for LinkedIn are in the show notes. Obviously, make sure you click on Lianre's, not Seth Godin. They do.
I know.
Just make sure you don't confuse the two. Simple to do. Well, Lianre, thank you very much for your time, and please do check out the Marketing Academy Foundation. And if you can help, get in touch, and please do.